This is how you can turn a wall like this to this, and all within 3 easy steps. So you might be wondering how we can do it so cheap, and the secret ingredient is this here. This is a polymer material, so it's really hard wearing. It's not going to fall off the wall, it's not going to dent or anything. You get 6 in a pack at 2 meters, and each pack is around £33. So to do a wall like this size behind me, it's roughly £99. And just a side note, it finishes the exact same as wood. It does need a few coats of paint, but yeah, you can't tell once it's on the wall. The tools you'll need is a spirit level, tape measure, pencil, some sort of cutting device, whether that's a meter block or a circular saw, and then just some grab adhesive. Step 1 will be measure the width of the wall, choose a point in the middle and stick at that point, because if the wall isn't even on both sides it will give you different measurements. So I recommend you draw out what kind of design you want. We're just going for a generic sort of 2 smaller pieces and then a slightly larger one in the centre.
So here you can see you take the full measurement of the wall and minus 15 centimeters for each side of the panel.
And that'll be the total width of the panels altogether. Then, if you write that number down, that's minus the extra measurements for the inside for each side of the panels. So don't worry about that for now. So we're left with this number here. We divide that by 3 because we want 3 panels, which is 101.2 millimeters. What I basically did is take 20 millimeters off the 2 side panels. So now if we would have stuck with that number, all of these would have been equal size, but we wanted this one slightly larger. So all I did was take this number minus 20 millimeters off each one of these, which left us with 81.2. So that's 81.2 for this one and this one. And then you add the 40 millimeters to this one here. So that's how we get all of our measurements. Once you've done that, you need to take into consideration the coving and the skirting board. So as you can see, we've got nothing on the wall yet, which is handy. But basically what we did is take an offcut of the coving and draw a line across the whole wall of where the coving will sit. And then we wanted the gap from the coving to be around 10 centimeters. So here we measured from the coving line down 10 centimeters, and that's how we found the top part of our paneling. And then do the exact same as that for the skirting board. So measure how high your skirting board is and then add an extra 10 centimeters to that. At that point you'll have the coving, your top point of the paneling marked out, and then skirting board, and then the bottom part of the paneling marked out. Next you need to decide how long you want the top panel. So we wanted ours obviously longer than the bottom. So once you've marked out the measurement of the top one, you leave another 15 centimeter gap, and then you make a mark at that point, and then from the mark you made at the bottom of your skirting board and then the extra 10 centimeters, that would be the height of the bottom panel. Step 2 will be to mark all those measurements onto the wall. Count first the 15 centimeter line from the wall on both sides, the coving line, and then the 10 centimeters to the top point of the first panel, the width of the first panel plus another 15 centimeters here, and then from there don't go straight to the middle panel, you want to come to the other side, do the same thing again, 15 centimeters and then the first width of the first panel. And I do that just because like any measurements do change, I don't want to be too far over one way, we can always amend the middle one. And then once you've done the 2 side panels, you can do 15 centimeter gaps, and then you'll find basically what size the centerpiece will be. The most important part to mark out is the top and the side pieces, just so everything's level and everything's square. Step 3 would be to cut and fit the panels to the wall. The way I do it is I cut the first angle first, and then I'll measure from that cut. So obviously once they're cut, you want to make sure you cut them the right way around, dependent on your pattern, and then they'll eventually look like that on the wall. So you can use grab adhesive to put these on, and I sometimes put a couple of nails in each side just to hold them in place. But when you come to sticking them on, you want to choose one of the smaller pieces on the side and start with that first. Get that whole panel on the wall before you do anything else. And then hopefully with any luck your markings will match.
So I always start with the top piece, and it's worth noting that I'm sticking them on the inside of the pencil mark that I made. And again, make sure you check in them as you go with the spirit level. So once the top one's in place, you can start fitting the side pieces, and just make sure that on the corner joins that they're matching up. And you can see here I use a nail in each side just to keep it in place while I'm fitting the pieces. Then yeah, you can move straight into the bottom piece, and again make sure that that's all level as well. And before moving on to the middle piece, as I said before, go onto the other side and get that one on the wall first. Also, it's worth mentioning that as you go in, make sure you wipe off the excess adhesive, because once it does dry, it may pull off the paint.
So both of the side pieces are on the top portion. So now you want to recheck the measurement for the middle one. I'll do this just so everything's even either side. Recheck the measurement, the 15 centimetre gaps either side, and then take the measurement from that and just confirm that it's right. Mine's off by like a millimetre, so I'm not going to worry about it. If you was going to have any problems, this is where you'd see them.
So on some pieces you'll notice that we actually painted them before we fitted them on the wall. I would recommend that if you can cut them all to the right size first. Obviously, as you can see, we had to buy another pack here, so some are painted and some aren't, but it is definitely a help if you can. So if you're deciding to have bottom pieces like us, it's similar to the top. You just mark out your measurements and then take into consideration any plug sockets you've got that may get in the way. But luckily that wasn't a problem for us. So all that's left to do at this point is to fit the final middle piece, and then we can move on to painting. So once it's dried and all stuck to the wall, you want to go around with some filler on all the edges and all the corners and fill all those in, and that'll basically hide any gaps that you may have from uneven walls and make it all look seamless. Then when you come to painting it, this is by far the worst part, and also you'll want to paint inside the panel on the wall as well, just to get rid of any brush marks around the sides. And just for reference, this is one of the other walls that we've done. As you can see at the bottom left, there was a plug socket that was in the way. But yeah, the finished product looks really nice, really modern, and using this product, it's really affordable. So if this video was helpful in some way, we'd really appreciate a like and subscribe, and yeah, keep an eye out on our channel for more.